The Magical Cash Book. So, I've taken the next step in ritual for something that I think is important to have as a handy-dandy tool. And that is the Magical Cash Book from Damon Brand's The Magical Cash Book. Something like that. Anywho, you have to go through a ritual of making the book, or I made more of a ritual of it. I had the book set with intentions and sort of in my altar space, and imbued it with the energies that I keep there, and I cleansed it and things like that with incense and dragon's blood incense and money drawing incense, things like that. And in the book, you have an incantation that you write, and you recite this incantation daily until your wish is granted. I do have to say that the first day that I used this book, a little bit of a trickster spirit was around the space. How does that present itself? Hearing sounds, for me, was one of them. And how else did it appear? Maybe I saw something out the corner of my eye. Things like that. And these are also reasons that I'm leery to work on things that I don't have much depth of knowledge about. I do the sword banishing ritual enough to feel protected. However, one of my young ones felt that they heard something in the house. So those are the things that I worry about. And also, in the end of the cantation, which I think is a good safeguard to have regardless of anything, and a safeguard to have in general when working with spirits, is cause no harm to me or my loved ones. And that made me think that the spirit is, can go either way if that is a necessary safeguards. Like when working with the Holy Guardian Angel, I don't have to say, don't cause any harm to my people, or when working with Archangel Michael or Metatron, I don't have to say, don't cause any harm to my people. So in this one, that was a little concerning, and then hearing the things rummaging out and about in the house was something that I didn't like. There's a thing about commanding the spirits, and I have a little story to tell about that. A partner that I was with used to go into the night, and he used to do all sorts of things that people do who party, and that commingles them with spirits. And one particular night, he came in like at 4 or 5 in the morning, and he was out of his mind, and a spirit came with him, a poltergeist, I called it, because it would start making random noises. The noise that I was making sounded like a balloon, like a helium balloon, the kind that's made of foil, and the sound of like crinkling that balloon, and it would make that sound like at places and times when you were least expecting that sound to appear. And it was doing it all night, and it was freaking us out. It was him, I, and my first youngling. And we were up, the lights were on. It was, the middle of the night, and that shit was just, making that sound. And he started praying. And, he is a self-proclaimed man of God, so he's praying, he's doing his Jesus, please save us, in the name of the Most High God, that sort of thing. But he's meek when he's saying it. And it's continuing, and it's continuing. He's going around the house, praying the house down, as he would say, going around, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. No result. But the moment that he took authority into his voice, like stood the ground for his home, or like got, like real about it, got content, got not content, but got, like almost upset, like roared. That's when it left. I've had that experience too, like I was on the bed one day, and underneath the bed I'm hearing like a little creak of the springs, and I let it go. Could have been me. And then I hear the creak of the springs again. I let it go, and then I hear the creak of the springs again, and like in an authoritative tone, like, stop. You know how like you tell a kid to stop, and it stopped. So there's a thing when it comes to authority. I don't remember what movie it was where it portrayed this thing too. This lady had a monster in her basement, and she lived with her kid, and the monster would like freak her and her kid out, da, 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 da. And one day she opened the door, and the monster appeared to her as like you couldn't see the monster, but they had that sort of face off, and she screamed at it like, this is my house, stop. And she shut that shit down. Like the monster backed up, and from then on she would give the monster food and shit like that. But the reason I bring all this up is because there is a thing about authority and commanding the spirits. And it is sort of like a touchy subject because, you hear command and you think slave and things like that. But it goes into, showing you it's not like that. It's like, being a manager or speaking to an employee. Like, go do this and bring that over there, and when you finish doing that, go. Alright? So that's how I like that approach, like, because at the end of the incantation it says go with the exclamation mark, and I feel funny still about that particular passage, but maybe I'm hearing the things around the house because I didn't put enough bass in my voice. I don't want to offend, and, that's a thing. You never want to offend the spirit. I've offended a spirit before, and that shit jumped through my fucking body like Whoopi Goldberg and what was that shit? Where they were talking, oh my god, what was that movie? Ghost. Ghost, yeah. I was in my kitchen, and, I felt the energy of a spirit, and I disrespected it. And that shit jumped through me like no feeling, like 1,000 goosebumps at one moment, in and out, boom. So I'm careful. But yeah, so that's my experience so far with the Magical Cash book. I'm still working on my first practice within it, and yeah. But I guess this is more about authority when working with spirits. So yeah, I guess there's that. Adios.